Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
Hi everybody, I'm Suzanne Sheldon.
Hey, so we're continuing our continued coverage of Nothing, where we sit around and talk about board games and the people who play them, and hope to bring a little bit of cheer to your being stuck inside, especially for those of you who have kids and maybe have them locked in a room somewhere. I have to say, my favorite tweet. I had somebody said, I'm 30 minutes into homeschooling my 6-year-old. I suggested all school teachers are paid $1 million a year from now on. So I've enjoyed reading stuff like that.
I know. I'm looking pretty good, Mike. I feel like I needed a change, right? Me, Mike DeLisio, just needed a change because I am Mike DeLisio, clearly, as the screen says. So I hope you like the new look. I hope you like the new Mike. What do you think?
It says Mike. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay, now I'm annoyed because I changed it ahead of time. I must have to resave it or something. Okay, it's right now. Roy's probably at home like, Tom, because I'm not editing this properly. Okay, how did I not get that? Let's switch. Back.
I don't mind.
Back?
I don't think anybody's gonna.
No, it's right now. It's definitely right. All right, everybody. Well, welcome.
Okay.
Okay, so before we take questions and stuff, we have two things. First of all, the Restoration Games is sponsoring a contest, and we hope that other companies follow suit here, where you can win a copy of Downforce and the newest expansion. This new expansion is really cool because it lets you jump a car, as all race tracks let you do, and or not run into animals. You can't run into animals, but you can move them to block other cars. It's my favorite track by a mile of the ones so far. And so
yeah, it's really, really good.
The way we're going to do this is we're going to randomly pick a question that someone asks over the course of this thing, and then you'll win. And you'll get a copy of this. We'll send it to you, or Restoration Games will send it to you, and we'll get your information afterwards. Make sure you email me at tom@dice.com and say, I'm the winner, but I'll know if you're lying, because I do. Secondly, since Suzanne is on the show and she's the roll and write champion, I've been getting a lot more games played recently, so I've had a chance to play the new family of roll and write games from this is from Hasbro, I guess. I don't know. Are they?
Is it Hasbro or is it Mattel?
I think I don't know. Whoever makes Uno. I'm not. These aren't the original boxes.
My condolences, Tom.
These are
my condolences.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, so I don't know. So we have Blocus, the dice game. We have Lowdown dice game. Apparently, I don't think I've ever played the board game Lowdown. I will look to see if that is such a thing online.
Is there a board game of Lowdown? I felt like it was a unique one they did. Maybe I...
Well, apparently there is.
Oh.
We just went to the intro again. Yes, it came out in 2016 from Mattel. The lowest score wins. It's a traditional game, card game in the golf family. You know the golf family of board games. After you have the lowest score, you get a 3x3 grid. Oh, it sounds like Cabo to some degree. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, anywho,
I liked 2 of those. 2 of the 4 I enjoyed.
Skip-Bo, the dice game, and Uno, the dice game. Now, one of these is way worse than the rest. And you might think it's Uno because of Uno being, what it is. And you would be right, in my opinion. This was not very good. Uno. Do you agree on that one?
No, I totally concur. I was pretty disappointed with it.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. But Uno, you just roll.
Because I'm a completionist, I have to own it. Like, I have to have it in my collection because I have a disease. But I'll never play it again.
Skip-Bo is slightly better than Uno, but not much. This one is one where you're basically just rolling dice and filling in a grid, but it's still super lucky. These two are the better two, I think. I don't think either one of them's great, But Lowdown had a fun push your luck aspect where you can pick a pair of dice from 4 dice in front of you or pick a hidden pair that someone else can see. And Blocus is about as close to a Blocus roll and write that I think you could get. They did a pretty good job with this one. It's still a little bit lucky, but I think this might be the best. Maybe?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
I don't know that I got a way to get any of them, but they're also all really cheap. So there's that. Alrighty, so let's see here. Someone says we're lagging here, and I apologize about that, but that is just the way the internet is. Apparently, from what I understand, the entire world is on the internet at this point.
Pretty much. And, yep, people are changing their lifestyles and going all digital. I know Board Game Arena, which is a really great free website to play board games online. You can chat a little bit, but what my friends and I do is we get on like a Skype or a Google Hangout and chat via video conference while we play against each other on Board Game Arena. It's totally, totally fun. Poor Board Game Arena has seen like 10 times the traffic that they normally have, and they're just overwhelmed. And bless their hearts, they're trying their best to keep this site up and running for people, but the demand is just overwhelming, which
we were talking about this today.
Is a good thing.
We think that it's going to be interesting to see a lot of things that people do now because they don't have a lot of choice. They'll keep doing after this thing's over, right? So like maybe Board Game Arena, a lot of people will play it, and then once this is over, more people will play it. People will subscribe to streaming services who haven't before. And now maybe they will keep those afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I hope so.
Ben says, how have you and your family been keeping your spirits up with the current situation?
We're just a few days. I live in the Seattle, Washington area, and the situation kind of started near like 30 minutes away from me. And we are in a situation where my schools are now closed through at least April 24th. All activities have been ceased, and now they're closing all retail that's not emergency related or food related. So we're doing good. Thankfully, we got a lot of games, but trying to get into a schedule where the kids are still doing some educational activities and things like that. I am not a teacher. Like, I send my kids to school for a reason. So we're figuring that out. But overall, I think, we're doing as well as we can. We're very lucky that we're very comfortable at home, and we have a lot of luxury here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things. Like I just watched Godzilla King of the Monsters with my family, which was better the second time. I watched it in the theater, thought it was hot trash. But watching it with a bunch of kids cheering for Godzilla makes it better. And we've had... In my life, for the past years or so, me and my family have had movie night once a week. We're now having movie night once a night, pretty much. So there's that, and playing board games and things like that. Today is St. Patrick's Day, so thank you, John, for Happy St. Patrick's. I was wearing green earlier. I'm done. And yes, I've been reading the Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. Let's see. Where am I? What are your thoughts on Sentinels of the Multiverse these days? Have you ever played that, Suzanne?
I only play... Oh, yeah. I've played it both in physical form and then in the app form. And for me personally, when the full game app came out, I was done with the physical edition because it played so well and I could play it solo in app form. So from that front, I love it. I'm really bad at it, and there's so much content I've never managed to get through all of it, which is amazing. But I really like it in app form. Physical form, it's no longer for me just because the app makes it so easy.
That's what I've heard. I'm actually afraid to play the app for that. I haven't played it in a while. I like these made-up universes, but I love Marvel. And so now that there's so many good Marvel games, it's hard to jump back to Sentinels. Also, Sentinels is very straightforward. You grab a deck and play it. Marvel and a lot of these games let you customize a bit, so... I guess that's what it is. But I would still play it and have a good time. Bruce says, do you remember the first time a company just sent you a game free to review? What did that feel like?
Like just out of the blue?
Yes. Oh, well, you mean without even telling me? That's. I mean, it's definitely happened. There are a few
Hmm.
games I can't even talk about that showed up, and I never see my wife move so fast to throw something away. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
Tom, I covered Kickstarter for the Dice Tower for years. And I think the first time I ever got offered a copy of anything was for a Kickstarter, and I felt like, well, one, I had no interest in the game, but two, I didn't. That's not what I did for coverage. I didn't want it, and so the first time I ever got offered it, it felt really interesting, and I felt like my role in the community was being acknowledged, but I had to decline it, so I didn't get it. That was a while ago.
I was surprised. As dumb as it sounds, it didn't even occur to me. Someone said, "Hey, I'll send you a game," and I thought, "You will? Why?" I reviewed games. I thought, well, that's kind of cool, but it was such an awful game. What was it?
Yeah.
Time, not time stories. Time. I'm getting it all mixed up now. It was about time travel, and it was very, very bad. What are your
Mm.
favorite yard games? Says John.
Ooh, I like bocce ball. Bocce ball is so much fun. Have you played, Tom?
Yeah, one time I went to Malaysia when I lived in Korea. So we took a senior class there for a retreat, and we stayed at this resort, and the kids went off and did stuff, and I wandered into a bunch of old people playing bocce. And I said, I'll give it a whirl. And then I guess I was an old person for like an hour or so. It was really fun. I don't know. Beanbags? Or what's it called? Cornhole for a lot of people.
Cornhole. Yep.
I, we played that so much as a kid. I really enjoyed that one a lot. Can I say water balloons? Because that would win over anything else. But
Noted. I'm taking notes
Aaron wants to know what our
for
favorite.
next time I'm down for Dice Tower.
No, please. No, well, no water in the halls. Yeah, that's like one thing that's no water gun jokes are ever allowed in Dice Tower Studios. Too much equipment. What's your favorite game with a standard deck of cards?
Well, I'm a big fan of classic trick taking games, so Pinochle is one of my all-time favorite games. Now, granted, that takes two standard decks, but Pinochle is amazing. And honestly, I am sad that a game designer hasn't done that whole, like we have diamonds and other games that kind of play off of hearts or spades or cribbage or other games. I want Pinochle is such a gamer's game. There's two phases. You have the meld phase and you have the trick taking phase, and like it's so ripe for kind of a modernization and a take on it. But alas, do you play many classic games? Classic card games?
I haven't for a while. This is one of those ones that I actually don't know much about. Pinochle. I do know how to spell it. When I first heard people
that's a
say
good
it,
start,
I thought it had
actually.
something to do with people's knuckles. I didn't know much more than that. The classic game I played the most, other than Solitaire, has been Hearts. I'm a big Hearts fan.
Do you shoot the moon?
I do, and I try every single time. This is why I like the Restoration game. Come on, you know the name of it. Indulgence. I like Indulgence so much because it's all about shooting the moon. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah, lots of people talking about buffering. Sorry about that. All right. Ooh, Josh says, what's your favorite game that takes less than 5 minutes? 5 minutes? What takes less than 5 minutes?
Win, lose, banana.
I would argue for a long time about that being a game or not, but yes. Well, I mean, if that's a game, then so is the little game where you stick your finger in and it shocks you.
Sure, why not?
I don't know. Let's see. When is your next Apptastic? We were just talking about this.
I know, it's kind of a prime time for us to start doing more of those. Actually, Mandy and I were just talking about that. We hope to do one on Thursday if Tom lets us. Please, Tom, can we do one on Thursday?
Yes. If Tom lets us.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, super soakers. What was your water gun of choice? Or did you have such a thing?
I mean, I just had the old. I mean, I'm old, right? So I just had the basic when Super Soakers first came out that you had all the pump action, right? But I mean, really, I just like taking my parents' hose with the spray nozzle and turning it on the full jet and going to town.
That's what kids did who couldn't afford super soakers. We had the dollar water guns, and also a cup of water works really well. You just run around with it. You get one shot, but it can hit. Time Control. That was the name of the game. Yes, that's a really bad game.
Nice. Way to come up with that one.
Well, someone online, Neo Closet Otaku said that. Let's see. Here. Man, there's a lot of people just talking back and forth to each other. Here, I'm trying to look for... Tang Garden. Have you played Tang Garden? It looked really cool. Have you played Tang Garden?
No, I haven't. It looks really pretty. Yeah. And I know there's a question here about the Hoopla digital comics app.
Oh, yes.
Way up in the chat.
This is from somebody asking. I saw that. Somebody I talked to at Dice Tower West was telling me about Hoopla and how you can use it to hook up with your local library to read comics, and I mean to do that like ASAP, and I keep forgetting. But the same question, and I don't have it here, ask Suzanne if she read any comics.
So, fun fact, I worked at a comic book store for a couple of years when I was in college. So, I don't know if that means I read them today, but I do read comics. I've been a comic reader since the 90s, which was an interesting time to really get into comics. I don't know if you remember that era with like the era of variant covers and chrome covers. And it kind of was actually it ended up being a really rough period.
There was a lot of people with muscles on muscles. Like the body proportions were really off on a lot of the characters. What's his name did a lot of that.
People who couldn't draw feet.
Yes.
And things like that, yeah.
I did like the storylines then. I was not a fan of pretty much anything that came out from Image, but I liked the Marvel stuff, and DC had their Nightfall and things like that. It was good. What was it? Did you like working in a comic store? Most of the ones I went to during that period, I kind of like slid in and slid out.
I liked it because I liked comics, and I met some really nice people there. But I certainly had, I had a lot of different life experiences at working at a comic book store, being 18, 19 years old, and yeah,
that's definitely like
still have a lot of comics from there.
It's the very epitome of like stereotypes I would imagine, especially in the 90s. Rob Liefeld, that's the guy's name.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't going to utter it. I feel like that's like Beetlejuice. If we say it too many times, he'll come yell at us on the internet. So.
Oh, no. All I said was he drew muscles upon muscles. So, do either of us enjoy jigsaw puzzling? Joshua says, for me, there's nothing like a glass of tea and a 1,000-piece puzzle to ease the mind.
Oh, yeah. I think that they can be very meditative. I like them, but I don't seek them out. Where I actually do a lot of jigsaw puzzles is I go to a local island a lot, and because my best friend lives there, and you have to take a ferry. And the ferry just has a bunch of puzzles laid out in different tables. And you can just sit down and for the 45 minutes work on them kind of communally, and it's really nice.
I don't like it at all. I hate it. I find it very boring. But I help my wife and my kids by every time I steal a couple pieces from the puzzle. And at the very end, I put them in. And then I tell everyone we worked on it together. And you would think they would catch on after me doing this for 20 plus years. And yet they don't. Although my daughter just built a puzzle that had an extra piece in it. And so I stole a piece from her puzzle, and then she said, there's one piece missing, and I have it, but it's the wrong piece. And then I got all panicked. And then my piece fit in, and so she just had an extra piece, which was very weird. That's the most boring story I've told tonight. All right. Would you consider playing Wingspan on the Switch when it comes out?
Oh, I will, 100%.
I have not played any board games on the Switch yet. I don't know how the interface would work. I mean, I guess it would work. It just feels almost like it's too small of a screen. I'd rather play them on my iPad. Is there something better about the Switch?
Not necessarily. No, I think it just depends on what you have and what you enjoy. I've played Istanbul a bunch on it. I've played Carcassonne on it, and it's been really, really nice. So it's one of those things. If you're playing your Switch and you feel like switching to something else, it's there. It's in front of you. So you know. I don't see the plans for Wingspan. I know they're working on it for Steam. So if it's going to be Steam and Switch before iOS or Android, then the other thing is if you want to play it in a mobile fashion, Switch might be your only option for a while.
Let's see. Stay away from the key lime pies. Well, good thing you weren't at the studio today then. Nerds.
Oh, guys. You.
Okay, I know, but listen. I know this. When I got back from Dice Tower West, I hate to get all serious here for a second, but I'm so when I got back from Dice Tower West, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be on the straight and narrow, and I've been on the straight and narrow. And then when everything came crashing down yesterday, I said, you know what? I need to call the key lime lady and swing by and, kind of help her because I don't know. And so I went there, and she was closed. So, a lot of places are closed at this point, and I was like, that makes sense. So I called her, and she said, I'll be there in 5 minutes, and she showed up, and she sold me some pies, and then she said I was the only person who had been by that day, and I felt really bad about it, But I mean, what can I do? There's only so much what that one can do, but I ended up buying 4 key lime pies. Yes, I'm breaking my diet a little bit, but, this is one of those times where just a little bit helps people, I think. I can't help every local business in my area, but I know her. We've gotten to know each other over the years, so I can help her a little bit now. So I'm less guilty about eating the key lime pie than I normally would be, if that makes sense. I actually, for the next few weeks, I'm going to be less guilty about eating pretty much anything. There are other things to be concerned about. I'm not so concerned right now. All right, anyway, Games of Fire says, Nerds is a really fun game with standard cards. I think of it as a cross between Spades and Solitaire. Have you ever heard of this game?
I have not played it, nope.
Nerds. So, according to the internet here, it came out in 1930, and it was originally called Solitaire Frenzy. It's ranked 5,242. It's also known as Pounce. But not the Pounce that I know.
I don't know it under that name either.
It sounds like you are... Oh, you know what it sounds like? It sounds a little bit, just from the direction here, it sounds a little bit like Dutch Blitz.
Oh, okay. Well, I've played Dutch Blitz, and I like Dutch Blitz.
You're emptying your draw pod, but building on 4 cards in front of them. But you have to alternate the colors like Solitaire. So a red 7 goes on a black 8, etc. And you can add on other people's piles, etc. Okay, yeah, so it sounds like a variant of Dutch Blitz, although this probably came out before Dutch Blitz. Gotcha. If you want to help businesses, buy gift cards. Oh, that's a good idea. Mm-hmm. This is interesting. Joshua says, I've never been to a board game convention. On the topic of card games, do you ever see regular card games being played at conventions?
Only through, poker tournaments. I see poker played. I don't know. I see cribbage played. Every once in a while, I'll see a couple people just knocking out a game of cribbage. But I don't know. I don't really see a lot of classic card games. That isn't to say people wouldn't play it. I think they're just surrounded by so many other games, especially at a convention setting, that they may not normally have access to, that they want to take advantage of that.
Card games don't get a ton of play at conventions in general. If you consider Tichu a card game, a classic card game, maybe I don't know how old Tichu is at this point. That one I see played at pretty much every convention I go to. But I've never seen Hearts being played. Tichu's 1991. Is that classic? It's 29 years.
Oh, my gosh. That's, ugh.
No, I'm not saying that that's old. I'm being very cautious. How How has the recovery of the library been going? All right. Well, I staggered in today, or yesterday, and started going through things. In the hall, the Mountain King, which has a beautiful insert, I opened it up and it was a disorganized mess. I have culled 3 games already from the first 2 shelves, but we are slowly. But on the positive side, I have 2 college interns who are stuck at my house for the next few months. So they will be fixing up the library. Let's see. Animal Crossing. Yes, everyone's talking about Animal Crossing. I'm not a huge Animal Crossing fan. Are you, Suzanne?
No, I like it, don't love it. I just can't commit to building up enough to do all the customization and stuff like that. And plus, the more time I spend playing Animal Crossing, the less time I spend playing Slay the Spire. So,
The same with me, but mine is Skyrim. Animal Crossing's fine. It's very sedate. I don't know how to explain it. I like it, but it's slice of life. My kids like it, and it's fine. I just there's no adrenaline rush playing it, which I guess is fine. It's like Sims to me in that regard.
You're such an adrenaline junkie, Tom.
No, well, in a board,
Jeez Louise, chasing that speed.
In a video game I have. My kids were watching me play a video game the other day, and I was explaining to them that the person who I murdered in cold blood was actually a murderer that I was preemptively taking out, which everyone in the room knew was a lie, but I'm trying to and my wife's like, you act differently during a video game. I'm like, yes, just let me get it out. Let's see here. What is the one thing you look for in a Kickstarter before backing?
A good game. I mean, there's a lot of things I look for in a Kickstarter before I'll back it. But, I mean, the first thing has to be a good game. I mean, quite frankly, even if some of my friends that I know in the industry are putting out a game that don't look so great to me, I'm not gonna back it.
Yeah. I usually look at the other things. That the first thing I'll do is I'll look at their other projects, which doesn't help if it's their first project, right? But if they've done other projects, I judge on past projects. That's the very first thing I do. If I don't know anything about the game, other than that, I'll look at I don't read the rules, but I'll look at their explanation of the game. And I'll tell you this: if they don't focus on the gameplay at all, I'm not interested. If they're just pushing the miniatures or the components, I'm like, well, obviously the game must not be that fantastic because they're pushing the other stuff.
Sure.
But I'm so wrong on my guessing on games so often. Like, I'll look at a game and think it looks fantastic. It's not. I look at a game and I go, and then it turns out that it's absolutely amazing. So there's some games I got in the mail and I was like, what? Who would back this? And then I look and I saw I backed it. So, and I just forgot.
That's okay. I just bought a copy of a game, and I was organizing some boxes of games that I have, and I found the same game that I'd literally just bought right there.
Well, I got burned today because
I already owned.
I wanted to review Starcadia Quest, and it hadn't come in yet, and it's been months since I see people getting it online. It was at Dice Tower West for crying out loud. I said, all right, whatever. I'm just going to get a copy for the Dice Tower Library, and I'll review that copy. And that copy arrived today, the one that I ordered, along with my backed one. Also showed up today. If I just waited one more day. Nick says, I'm trying to organize a board gaming cruise by taking a ferry from the shore of Michigan to the shore of Wisconsin. Would you attend? I didn't even know there was cruises like that.
How long does that take?
It doesn't sound as exotic. Is it cold? I guess maybe if you do it during the summer. This is a great.
Oh yeah.
This is a great question, though.
I'll tell you that the Midwest is hot as heck in the summer.
Well, that's true. I've been to Indianapolis for Gen Con. I agree. Nathan asked a question I've never been asked before. Is there a single game that you would wish gift to everyone on Earth?
I've never. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Wow. What do you think, Tom? I mean, I'm gonna go to something like a classic card game that I think has just got a lot of appeal and can kind of just crack open the door a little bit to people on what else is out there. So I'm thinking a Six Nymphed or a No Thanks probably, but
Yeah, see, I was gonna say Ticket to Ride because that's my kind of standard thing, but that is a bigger box, and maybe not everyone has room for Ticket to Ride. No Thanks is a good choice.
oh, Tom, I'll never forget the day that you learned you'd been playing No Thanks wrong for years and years.
There's no proof that ever happened, except that it probably happened live on a podcast.
Yeah, except that, yeah.
Well, Nathan, I think you're in the running for best question so far. That's a good question. I know you play board games with your family, but at what age do you introduce real board games like not Monopoly or Sorry to your children? Well, this is a different Nathan. I would argue that those are real board games. You may not like them as much. I know what you're saying, but I'm always very cautious to call what I like real board games. Like, for example, this Skip Row Dice game. Is this a game or a real game? You know, it's crossing that bridge. So, I don't know. I just play whatever game. I don't care who makes it. I don't care if it's mass market or boutique. And as to what age, I don't know. It all depends on the kid, what they can handle, how old they are. My son and Melody, at 6 years old, were playing very different games.
Absolutely. And that's what it comes down to, right? Because my 7-year-old, we're working on the sportsmanship and the good winner, good loser thing, but man, there are tears when he loses. And so we stick to a lot of cooperative games still. Whereas my daughter, who's 11, the same thing, the sportsmanship, good winner, good loser, clicked with her, and she's much more able to dive into a wider range of games that way. Every kid is different.
That is the truth of it. I thought after 6 I'd get one that was the same.
You would know better than anybody, Tom.
Oh my son is so. Yesterday, Melody was coming. They were driving from Tampa, where she was with her fiance, and I said to the kids, I said, we were all sitting there at breakfast, and I said, Melody's coming later on today, and Jimmy said, let's count. And I was like, oh brother, because here he learned to count, so he said 10, 9, and he counted all the way down to 1, and then he said, is she here now? And we all just looked at him. He's like, well, where is she? I said, I didn't say anything about her coming from 10 to 1, but she eventually did show up. Cute kids. When do kids stop being cute? I'm going to say age 9. All right, anyway. Suzanne, have you played any 18XX, says Bruno. I think you will enjoy the experience.
Ah, well, Bruno, I have, and I do. In point of fact, 2 of my very closest gaming friends are 18XX fanatics, Josh and Melissa. They go dark web to find all of the winsome game pieces that they don't, that are hard to find and all that other stuff. And I've played a few 18XX games, and I quite enjoy them. I am not great at them, and it's not something that's going to click with me as like a lifestyle game, but if you throw one in front of me that's going to take 4 or less hours, I'll play it. I really like them.
4 or less hours.
How about you, Tom? Have you played?
I've only played 18EZ, and I know some people said it's not a real 18XX game. I've stopped and watched them enough. I get the idea and the concept, and it's just not for me. I'm not even a fan of the shorter stock market games like Chicago Rails and things like that. I just don't like them. I don't have any... I'm not saying they're bad games. Whoa! But I accidentally clicked the switch here. I clicked the switch and the power switch, and I turned everything off. But fortunately, my laptop has power, and the internet's still on. So it kind of switched to my laptop there briefly, I think.
Okay, your audio, just so you know, like your mic got super fuzzy, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's on your side.
Oh no, hang on. All right. Can you hear me now? Is it still fuzzy?
It is for me, but maybe it's just me, It is what it is.
I can't believe I kicked the power. But at least there's a battery to back it up. If it had...
Are you actually on, like, I can see you, but I think you hosed this stream. Okay, no, you're back there. Okay. I'm like looking at YouTube now.
Oh, that's right, because you just popped up alone there for a while. All right.
Yeah, sorry everybody for that.
No, that's all me. I got excited and I kicked my power. That should not be so easy to do. Okay. Someone said, this is
Who
funny.
set that up that way?
This guy, Truce, said, Tom, what's your live stream setup? Video and audio is very smooth. And then, boom, I kicked it. This is why never brag about things that you are good. What's a dexterity game, says Ivory Rascal, you think should be looked at by a bigger audience?
Ooh. Wow. Because, see, Tom, you and I like dexterity games. And I know a lot of people don't. There's so many, right?
Well, my standard thing is Pitch Car. I'm still kind of mind boggled that Pitch Car is not sold in Toys R Us. It's probably because of the price of it, I guess. I think Rhino Hero should be sold like in every store. I think Rhino Hero should be at Walmart. Should be everywhere. It's a game that everyone plays at cons.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think like the Way Kick, which is really expensive and really hard to get, is amazing. I mean, Crokinole, right? Everybody should have Crokinole. But I really like the Zoch ones, like Hamster Roll and Bombaleo. And those aren't as easily available in the U.S., and I really wish they were because they're super fun.
Yeah, folks, so you can see Way Kick here. The picture I'm showing on the screen it's like foosball, it's like air hockey. But you're under the table with the magnetic things. And what was the other one you said? Bambolino? Right. This is...
Bambaleo or Hamster Roll.
Bamboleo's a little tricky because it's so fragile. Everything's like tilted on this one thing, and it's really easy for it to fall over, which is why I don't like it as much as Hamster Roll. Because Hamster Roll is... which I can't apparently spell...
Rolle, yeah.
Oh, there's 2 R's in it. I see. Okay. This one's really unique in that you put these wooden blocks and the thing rolls on the table. And it takes a while for the stuff to fall off, and the whole thing doesn't collapse. It's just whatever pieces fall off, you get in front of you.
Yeah.
It's a really unique game. That is a good choice.
Thanks, Tom.
If you had to send 3 games into space, like a la the Golden Record, to represent humanity to aliens, what would those games be?
Before you finished the sentence, I was like, 3 games into space I never had to look at again.
That's very different. The alien's like, what is this garbage? Like,
to the moon.
Suzanne sent these to represent humanity? Like, I'm assuming they want us to represent humanity the way we would want humanity to be represented. So we'll go with that.
Tokaido. Pleasant journeys with food and panoramas.
That's very reasonable. I want to say consumption. I just played consumption about eating food, but let's see. Tokaido's a really good choice. Nothing to do with modern situation, but pandemic itself, the cooperative nature of that. I would put some sort of cooperative game in there. A positive.
Sure, but then like why not a Forbidden Desert, right? Which is a much more.
Yeah, that's true. But they might be like,
chill.
Why weren't they able to find this magic? We can all create flying things out of nothing. But yeah.
And then like chess, right? I mean.
I guess maybe Go.
I'm sorry, but Board Gaming Japan wrote Vicious Fishes, and I can't even. I'm sorry, Tom.
Yes. This is coming up in chat a lot these days here, folks. Someone's gonna have to reprint it just so I can get this out of my hair.
If only you knew people that took old out of print games and restored them and re-released them out in the world.
Yeah, Justin, I'm waiting for the call. What's better, sunsets or sunrises?
sun rises.
I think so.
But I'm a morning person.
A sunset's really pretty, but a sunrise means the day is beginning, which I like a lot. Me and my wife usually walk each morning, and now that they've changed the times, it's dreadfully dark. And so in a few weeks when we walk, we'll see the sun rise while we're walking, and I tend to like that. Oh, maybe love letter. Yeah, that's a love letter might be one I put in the spaceship. Maybe. Let's see here. How do you choose what to cull from the library? Well, I'm at 24 shelves at this point in time, and I need to, make sure everything fits. So each shelf, I'd look at it, and I would look, and I'm not going to call the game's names out right now, but there was one game I said, oh yeah, I was kind of iffy on that one. I look at it, no one checked it out. Okay, it's out at Dice Tower West. And then there were 2 games that had 2 copies, and I said those games didn't warrant 2 copies. They got checked out, but not enough that we needed 2 copies of both of them. So those are the 3 games that I got rid of. And that's kind of the way it's going to be as I go through. I'll say, well, this game no one checks out. Now, there are a few games that I keep in the library, specifically for me or Z or, as people mention them to me, that no one's ever going to check out. But I want it in the library because I might say, you guys never heard of this game. I'll play it with you. Sure. So I keep a few of those around. But usually if no one checks out a game, after a while, I got to pull it out of the library. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Where's my the checkout from the library? Let's see. We'll play a quick mini game here, Suzanne. See if you could pick a game that was checked out only once, but it has to be checked out once.
Oh,
do you think there was?
Okay.
Do you think there was a game that you grabbed from the library and you were the only one?
Did I grab a game? I don't think so. I grabbed Happy Pigs. I don't know if a lot of people are checking out Happy Pigs nowadays, but I love that game.
That's a good idea. I do like Happy Pigs. Happy Pigs was actually checked out 5 times.
Hey, yeah, go Dice Tower West. The library is so immense. That's so difficult to say.
How many games were checked out 2 or more times? 834 games. And the last one here, The Witcher adventure game. I would not have expected that to be checked out at all, actually. But you know what? It's because that TV show came out. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Toss a coin to your Witcher.
Oh, my good gravy.
I immediately I had to wait till there was a version on Spotify, but I downloaded that.
Did you hear the metal remix of it?
Do you keep any young kid oriented games in a library? Not in particular, because I have a separate kids library that we are taking to Dice Tower East. So I've been keeping good games for that one. Really phenomenal games. Lots of blue-orange games, lots of Haba games, the My Little Scythe, all kinds of games like that. Magic Maze for kids. So I don't mix them with the other library because I don't know how to explain it. I don't like the idea of going to a library and having to jump over games. Like, these are kids' games, or get confused to grab a game. I think they should be separate. And while kids are certainly welcome to come to a con, I think that if you are bringing a kid to a con like Dice Tower West, Dice Tower East, and playing games with them, they should be able to handle the games that are on the shelf. And if not, it's a different thing. I hope I said that right. Tom, Suzanne, would you ever use board games as an opportunity to reach out to someone who has a bullyish personality to others and is generally unpleasant to people in hopes of them becoming a nicer person? I don't know. If someone had that kind of attitude, I would be afraid to play a board game with them almost. I guess the question is, do I think board games change people? And I don't know that they do. I think board games are a very positive thing. They bring a lot into the world. But I think board games reveal people's personalities. Like if someone gets really angry in a board game and they throw a fit, and someone's like, that's just how they are when they play board games. I think, well, yeah, but that's them. It just came out in a board game. And Yeah, we've all had our moments in board games, and so I'm not saying that. But if I meet someone in life and I think that person's a jerk, I don't think playing board games will subtly make them nicer. And I don't know that I want to be the one to teach it. Maybe that's just me, though.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I would, if there's some reason I really want to reach out to that person, there has to be some motivating factor for me to feel like I need to draw that person out. I'd probably do more of a heart to heart than pull out a game and really dedicate my attention and focus to listening to them.
Listen, Bob, we need to talk. Let's play this game first. Do you remember when you got mad at turn 5? Well, that's how we all feel when you yell about someone eating your lunch in the fridge, and we all know you didn't even bring a lunch. And stop trying to make us buy your kids Girl Scout cookies. Now we don't.
That sounds a little specific there, Tom.
We don't have that problem at work where people. Well, they do all eat my pie, but I'm pretty sure I said anyone could eat that. We don't have that. There's so few people in the office. You know, it's like someone ate my lunch. Well, that narrows it down to 3 people. Let's see here. What games off the top of your head do you enjoy playing contrary to the majority of gamers? Well, Duel of Ages. No one else seems to like that.
Well, I like Duel of Ages. I still have it.
What? That is amazing. I did not know that. A good thing to come from today.
I have the master set with all the huge boxes and all the characters. I got it all.
Do you agree with me that if Duel of Ages came out today, it would be a Kickstarter for sure?
100%.
You know, with stretch goals and stuff.
1 billion times.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and we'll probably have miniatures. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Just miniatures are so big these days. Oh, tomorrow. The 3D printer is coming. I'm excited. Finally, we're moving. So I'm going to have Roy set up because he's a 3D printer expert. As in, he's the only person who knows anything about 3D printers. And I get mad enough at the paper printer. Why do you think some folks, says Ben, want to rush their kids into big games? I find it funny to see these threads on Board Game Geek about their 7-year-old mastering Scythe and asking which is the best 18xx to get them into. This is one of my pet peeves. We don't do this with other things. Like, I don't sit there and say, kids, we're going to watch the Godfather trilogy. They're like, but Dad, we want to watch Frozen. It's time for you to learn to watch real, and then we don't walk around bragging about that. Well, my kid, has watched Game of Thrones at the age of 4. We don't applaud you there, I guess. I kind of feel that way about board games. I mean, if your kid does it on their own, so be it. I just don't know. I think a lot of people do it because they're pushing the kid to become a game opponent for themselves.
Yeah, I know people that have kids that have been gaming their entire lives, right? These are avid gamers who have kids. The kids sit on their lap when they're too young to play, and it's just they're steeped in the culture games. And I know some that play what I would consider very advanced games for a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old. And hey, you know what? That is great. And the people I'm speaking about specifically, they're wonderful. It just happens to work out that way, such as life. I think it gets weird when people somehow associate some kind of superiority to a child playing a grown-up game, because that's just one ability. That's just one skill set. So if my kid who can't play Scythe at 7, but is really great at soccer or can play the piano really well, or quite frankly is completely average and can really just drink a lot of milk, like, who cares? They're kids. Let them be.
Oh, Ivory Rascal has a sad question. Is there a table for board games that's affordable, not the tables from Walmart? Those board game tables are pretty pricey. Look, I use one. I think they're fantastic. But they are pretty expensive. If you just want a good table, just go out and look for a good table. And look for the right size. I use those white tables from Costco. They work well for me.
What I would say is I don't have a fancy board game table or anything. They are quite expensive. What I have found has really improved gameplay experience at home is I did invest in a very large tabletop-sized playmat. So I have a kitchen table and I just roll out a
Ah,
play mat that's almost the same size as my kitchen table. It's a nice thick neoprene with a nice coating on top and everything like that. And that alone, without all the other fancy bells and whistles, really improves my gameplay experience at home and at a fraction of the price of a board gaming table, dedicated table. So if you're looking for a more luxurious experience, that may be an economical way to go about it without investing in a separate table.
there you go. Yeah, those mats make a big difference. It just feels better playing on them.
It's easier to pick up cards, dice roll great on them. Yeah.
Ian the Cool 2000 says, "How do I get my friends to stop bringing up my horrible game losses? Stop losing." I, um, I if it really bothers you, I would tell them that it bothers you. Like, my friends bring up my game losses, but it doesn't bother me, so that's fine. But if it bothers you, you should tell them, because I know that if I'm joking with somebody and I don't think it bothers them, then it's fine. But if they tell me it bothers them, then I feel bad and I'll never do it again. And that's happened with a lot of people I know, where I joke with them, they'll say, "Yeah, I'm not really comfortable with that," and I'm like, "Oh, okay," and then I won't do it anymore. But I don't know if they laugh with me, I'm like, "Oh, we're all good," you know.
For sure.
Oh, the same question. How do you handle someone who's playing a game and then the next day bragging so bad that they beat you to someone else? Are these the same people? No, these are two different people. Okay. Oh, someone brags about beating you. What can you do about it? I always make their loss less worthwhile. Be like, "Oh, well, anyone can beat me. What you did wasn't very spectacular. I'm that bad."
Or conversely, they thought you were such a big challenge. They're so proud of beating you because you are so amazing. So let them have their moment because you're amazing and they got lucky and beat you. Yeah.
That is a much better way to look at it. Did I finish Lock and Key? I did. What were my final thoughts? It was pretty good. Still a little teeny boppery
The
for me.
show or the comic series?
I haven't read the comics, just the show.
Okay.
I plan to read the comics. I just haven't yet. The show was good, a little teeny boppery. Without spoiling anything, I thought they tied up everything in a nice, neat bow, but at the same time, a lot of what happened in the season was kind of undone by some of the stuff at the end, I thought. It was well acted, good special effects. I'm trying not to say some more. I'll watch season 2. How's that?
Well, I've read the comics. I've read all of the comics. It's one of my favorite series. So I hope you get to read it, Tom. It'll be interesting to hear how they compare.
Yeah, sometimes it's really weird. Like, I did read the comics for, what's the violin? Umbrella Academy. Umbrella Academy. I read the comics for that. I watched the show. I felt like they were two different entities. I liked them both, but they didn't feel like the same thing. I mean, they did, but I don't know how to explain it. I think it's possible to like something simultaneously. I think a lot of things they did in Umbrella Academy, I didn't think they could even translate to screen, so that the fact that they even did part of it was amazing to me.
Yep.
Let's see here. We're almost done for this, folks. So, have any of these questions impressed you enough to give them an award?
Absolutely. I gotta say, when somebody asks a question that neither you nor I have heard before, they gotta get, and it's a really nice question. They've got to get a little something for that. So I think it was Ryan who asked about what one game would we gift to the world, everybody in the world, if we could. That's my pick.
I like to give the world no thanks. All right, so Ryan, email me at tom@dicetower.com and we'll get you that, and we'll get your information from you. Congratulations, folks. We're gonna try to do this with more of our Dice Tower chats as we go through these. So if you're a company and you want to donate games for that purpose, let us know, of course. And tomorrow, we're not doing a technical Dice Tower chat, except that we are. It's just called Dice Tower Tonight. So that's what we'll do tomorrow, is a Dice Tower chat. There will be a Dice Tower chat on Thursday. I'm not sure what time it is. We're going to work it around Suzanne and Mandy's Apptastic. Is it Apptastic?
Yeah.
Right, so just keep an eye on the schedule for when those things are. So they'll be doing Apptastic, and then Roy will be running Dice Tower chat on Thursday night because I'm off recording a podcast with Eric.
Roy. Woo!
And like I said, since I have plenty of free time, my wife said she's never seen me at home so much. We'll be doing these the whole time. We'll stay strong together. We don't know how long we'll be doing this, but we hope to see you guys there. And we really appreciate you coming back and forth with us. So let's see. We'll ask a couple quick questions before we head out here. Let's see here. Ian O'Toole says hi. Am I going to back Frosthaven? Maybe that's a week from now. This is an interesting thing we've been talking about lately. This is a tough time for Kickstarters. Should they launch? Should they delay launching? Do you run a backer kit now? There's a lot of questions and stuff. So I would not be surprised if some, I don't know, I'm not saying Frosthaven will delay, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see some Kickstarters delay.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true.
And let's see. Do you like Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters? That's on the shelf behind me, I think, actually.
Yeah, it's a really great game.
Oh, here's Zane has a good idea about tables. He says, go to a vintage store and find a folding leaf table. And you can find all sorts of layouts in your area, and if you're lucky, you won't need a truck to transport if you have a hatchback or SUV. Though my only thing about the folding leaf tables is I'm always a little worried they're a little wobbly. And I'm always a little worried someone's going to hit the table and everything falls off. The same kind of person who might unplug their computer during a Q&A.
Whoever would be so ridiculously careless to do something like that
are the worst. All right. Well, that's it. Anything you want to tell people about, Suzanne, before we head out?
No, our Mandy and I dropped episode 650 of the podcast today.
Oh, that was
Hope everybody
today.
enjoys it. That was today. I know, it's only Tuesday, Tom. It
really feels like Thursday or Friday.
I hear you. Similar to the Dice Tower Chats, Mandy and I want to do a few extra Apptastics, maybe run some versions where people can join in on something like a roll and write or something that they can play at home with us. So we're going to be looking at that. And we are lucky to be passionate and be steeped in a hobby that's kind of well suited for what's happening in the world right now. So let's lean into it and have fun together, you know?
And we're working. We can't do too much stuff, right? But we are trying to increase the output of at least live stuff for you all over these times. And the contributors, different people, we're going to be trying to do more of that. So just stay tuned. Realize, of course, that we are stymied by, can we do it here? Can we do it there? And, things could happen that will stop us. But we'll do our best. Stay in touch with us. We'll stay in touch with you. Have fun gaming. The whole get online and play gaming, that's from us. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Suzanne Sheldon.
And you've been watching Dice Tower Chat live tonight. Or I don't even know what that's called. The Dice Tower.